Hi, my name is Meredith Welbes, and this is my story. I was raised in a large family with a deep faith in God, and not only did I have my parents' influence of Christ, but I also lived on the same farm as my grandparents, and I had their influence as well. In our home, we were the typical Baptist family. We went to church every Sunday, had Sunday school, we learned our verses. On summer vacations, we went to Bible camp, and everything I knew was about God. When I was 10 years old, my parents got divorced, and we were kicked out of church for reasons I didn't know. My dad moved away, and it was just my mom, my sister, and I, and we stopped going to church. After high school, I moved away. I think I was running from all the bad choices that I've been doing. I just wanted to get away and start over. My mom and my sister would try and call me and talk to me about God, and I just wanted no part of it at all. I just was having too much fun in my sinful life, and I just wanted to continue down the road that I was on. I remember one day I was in Seattle. I was standing at the bus stop, and I just remember thinking, Lord, if you're out there, prove it to me. I had so many questions about different religions and which one to believe in and how to know if God was really true. And as soon as I said that, not more than 2 seconds later, a guy came from around the corner out of nowhere and asked me if I believed in God. And it kind of struck my heart, and I never did go to church that Sunday with that gentleman, but I think it was really a turning point in my heart. A few years after that, I decided to move back to Iowa. I wanted to have a change in my life. I was tired of being alone and not having my family around. So I moved back to Iowa and thought that everything was going to be great. But I think that's when I hit rock bottom. When I was in my early 30s, all in 1 week, I lost a boyfriend, I lost my job, and I got arrested for a DUI. And I was embarrassed and I was broken, and I just knew that it was time to change. And I think that's when I started praying and knowing that I really needed to seek God for help. Shortly after that, I met my husband, and when we were getting married, we decided that when we were going to have kids, we wanted our kids to be raised in a church because that's how we had both been raised. After we had our first daughter and bought a house, we found Soteria right down the road from us. That next week, my grandfather passed away after we had gone to church here, and it was sad to know that him and my grandmother were both gone, and I had always looked up to them so much, more so in the last few years, because they had lived so well through Christ, and they had been such a great representation of how a family or how a person in general should live like Christ and through Christ. And I just questioned myself on how am I going to be able to get my family to understand Christ like they did? How am I going to understand Christ myself like they did? So last fall, Pastor invited us to the Starting Point class, and my husband and I were eager to go. So we started taking that class and reading through The Road to Emmaus is one of the great books that has really helped me to understand all the things that I wasn't understanding in my earlier years as a kid, and now I finally realized that all those things that have been crushing me in my life had actually been bringing me closer to God. I thought I'd been walking alone all those years in my life, but I realized that God had been walking right there along with me, and I no longer had to walk alone. My file of sins in the big filing cabinet, all those sins that I had done, those sins that I thought would never ever be forgiven, Jesus had taken my file and replaced it with His. I now know that He has died for me, and He has come to this earth to save me from those sins, and I no longer doubt who the real God is. Whenever I have something that I think is an issue, I look to Him. I pray every day, if not multiple times. I think I probably pray 24 hours a day. And I think my focus is more on how I can live my life through him instead of how I can live it through myself. God is holy, Jesus saves, I am sinful, and he is mine by faith. Did I say it right?